This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Welcome to another episode of Speak Up Effective Communication. I'm your host, Craig O'Neill. This is the show focused on elevating our communication skills in the auto repair industry. With me today is my friend, guest, and coach and mentor, Dennis McCarron from Cardinal Brokers. Met Dennis years ago when Chris Cloutier, my boss, sent me to a training with Dennis. I was over in Schaumburg, Dennis, and that was, I think it was 2018. I want to say May 2018, my friend.
That sounds about right. Schaumburg, Illinois.
A wonderful town if you have a reason to be there. Yep. No, it's great. But thanks for joining me, Dennis. We are going to be talking about a topic that I feel is very relevant for our industry today. It is going to be the topic of it's an acronym, folks. I know we did an episode on acronyms recently, and we're throwing another one at you. We are throwing APAC in there. And the joke I made with Dennis earlier, man, I said, I hope you're ready to APAC the crap out of people here, because this is going to be really valuable. And we're going to tell you exactly what APAC means. And in addition to that, we also have our word of the day. Our word of the day for today is pragmatic. And I'll define that word after we have a word from our sponsors. Looking to take your shop to the next level of quality service, team culture, and overall profitability? At the Institute, we provide personalized coaching that aligns with your goals of financial stability, excellent customer service, and employee satisfaction. Our priority is helping you establish significant and sustainable progress. We work with you to create strategies that reduce the stress of running your business, improve your quality and performance, and optimize your profitability. Experience the benefits of professional coaching by visiting wearetheinstitute.com/business-assessment. Hey friends, as you know, I'm a proud member of the AutoFlow team, and let me tell you, we've changed how business is done for auto shops everywhere. We support your client experience before, during, and after the work is done. Imagine this: timely updates sent directly to your clients, branded digital vehicle inspections, and seamless communication from start to finish. That's why shops love AutoFlow. And hey, with those 5-star reviews rolling in, you'll wonder how you ever managed without us. Take an important next step and take your auto shop to the next level. Visit www.autoflow.com. Get on board with an AutoFlow trial. Are you ready to meet your perfect auto repair shop management software partner? Well, say farewell to the days of transactional relationships and hello to a true partnership that elevates your business. The #1 all-in-one solution is AutoLeap. You're not just getting software, you're gaining a dedicated ally committed to your success. AutoLeap will help you sell more, save time, and delight your customers at every turn. From scheduling appointments to creating estimates, generating invoices, managing technicians, and seamlessly syncing with QuickBooks to keep your records updated. Experience the difference a true partnership makes. Visit AutoLeap.com and book a demo today. AutoLeap, your trusted partner for success. Want to see your auto repair shop thrive? Are you looking to drive more customers to your auto repair shop? Let ShopDog Marketing be your guide. Our customer-first approach, combined with AI-driven creative content, ensures top rankings. Dominate mobile-first and voice search with our specialized expertise. Reach out to ShopDog Marketing today and start growing your business. Don't miss out on this chance to boost your business. Visit shopdogmarketing.com. Inbound has exclusively served independent auto repair shops with expert communication solutions for years. Our robust VoIP platform ensures you stay connected while our industry-leading AI analytics take your business to the next level. We provide the tools you need to understand your customers and optimize every interaction. Choose Inbound for proven expertise and unmatched innovation. Visit callinbound.com and discover the difference we can make. Okay, we're back. Word of the day is pragmatic. It's an adjective, folks. It means dealing with things sensibly, realistically, in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. Now, I think we probably will get into theory today, Dennis, but I think APAC is about as pragmatic as it gets for problem solving, problem or upset clients in the shop.
It's true. From the training that we did before, you would know as Q4 is described in one word as pragmatic.
Yes. Perfect. See, I didn't even think of that when I picked the word of the day. It's so subconsciously ingrained in my brain now. That's really good training, Dennis.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I figured that as you were talking about it, I didn't see that little twinkle that you were squeezing it in. You just picked that word.
That was like, organic knowledge, planted, grown over years.
Yep.
That's awesome. No, so let's define APAC for our audience. A.P.A.C, what does it mean?
Okay. This will be in two parts, but APAC is another acronym, and it's acknowledge, probe, answer, confirm. And it is the scaffolding of how to have a proper argument. And by that, I mean where both parties agree on how to solve a problem and give each other responsibilities in ensuring that problem gets solved.
Well, I said this is for the auto repair industry, but I think this is going to be for the world. The world needs this.
Well,
yes,
it is what I would consider a life skill.
Yeah.
Here's the interesting part about APAC. It is going to happen anyway. It's not the scaffolding because we think it works. It's the scaffolding because it's in the order of how to get a conversation done the most efficiently.
Oh, wow. So it's like we're wasting time.
It's not even an option. You're just getting rid of all of the bad things that happen in a conversation, emotional highs.
Yeah.
And that depends on what emotional is high right now. Incorrect information, getting involved.
Yeah.
Information that's not pertinent to solving the problem. The more mistakes that get made, the harder it is to get at the heart of the problem.
Oh, wow. Dennis, so this is for the world because it's like APAC. If you engage that first in disputes with clients, it's like skipping the war and going straight to the negotiating table.
Yeah, which you could argue is more than likely getting done right now by a guy who wrote a book called Art of the Deal.
Yeah.
Regardless of how you perceive the man in his environment, it is a man who knows how to talk to other powerful people and not lose his position in power.
Interesting.
It's as far as I'm taking that statement.
Yeah. No, it's a safe way to take that, I think, in today's climate. But let's look at the problem that I see, right? And you're on shop owner forums. You work with shop owners in your brokerage agency. You're helping people acquire shops. You're helping people with their exit strategies. You're helping with all that sort of stuff. So you stay in tune with what's going on in shop owner land. You're engaged on social media in periodic ways, some very funny ways with sports, especially. I love you.
On social media, I am an acquired taste.
Yes. It's definitely one that's worth sampling. Yeah, 100%. But here's the thing. I troll around in those forums as well, looking for data, looking for inspiration. And what I see a lot of, especially through the COVID era, this is really common. There's a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of what I would call 3C communication out of Dale Carnegie, a lot of complaining, criticizing, and condemning. A lot of shop owners venting for catharsis. Oh, now there's 4? There's 4 C's?
I would add another C, controlling.
Ooh, all right. I like
Too many people want to control the conversation. When two spouses are not in agreement as to who is in control of X, chores, the kids, the mortgage, the money, the will, the tombstones, taking the trash out, doesn't matter. When that is in dispute, that is when you get an argument because the anger is coming from the frustration of not knowing who's in charge. So that you create a vacuum of power. And again, we're talking about taking out the trash, right? So you're not going to pull out your bow staff and your katana over who takes the trash out. But you might get snippy. you might do negative behaviors to remind that person. So
yeah, and this happens. Okay, so this is where I'm going with it exactly, is like what I see people venting about is an interaction they had with a client who was upset. And then that client's mind, a legitimate reason, they have one, they always feel they have a legitimate reason to be upset and angry towards a shop, whether it be that loss of control or they just are in some other element of frustration. The shop often does not have staff trained to deal with this in an appropriate way. And what I see is all sorts of examples, service advisors that feel like they need to argue. APAC that has 2 A's in it, it does not have argue on either one of those A's. But that's what we do. And then they get defensive and they try to defend their position, justify their position, rationalize their position. And it turns into an unpleasant argument where there are now just 2 upset parties, a low score review, end of story. And we're mad at the world for not understanding the plight of our situation here in the automotive industry. It's not fair, Dennis. It's not fair. Right? And here we are. But I have found repeatedly after learning and slowly, and I still am very much a student of APAC. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to introduce you as a behavioral expert, but you would say you are a student of human behavior. I think that's so good. I'm a student of APAC. Help us understand, like you have an upset customer. Why is that first A, acknowledge?
I'm going to have to start a whole step backwards.
Let's do it.
In order for anybody to really understand APAC, you have to understand at least a simple model of human behavior.
Beautiful.
And this isn't a class in a college, classroom. I'm going to take some liberties in my brevity.
Sure.
The very first thing you process as a human being is quite literally the visible universe as it relates to your situation. So if you and I were to talk about Stephen Hawking, the whole world is part of our conversation, the whole universe, the galaxy, the sun, the stars, the moon, and dark matter. It's everything. That's our environment. We pulled our globe, our clear globe, out and circled everything known about the entire universe and said, let's talk about that. If your situation involves my car and your automotive shop where you're standing and my possession, and I'm upset about my possession, then our world shrinks to that size. So you process your environment to that in nanoseconds.
Interesting.
The next thing you do is you apply how you feel in that environment. And you either take a very active role in that environment or you take a very passive role in that environment. Either you engage or you disengage. So if we make it a sliding scale, the more important this situation is to me, the more I engage, the more I'm interested in solving it. The less it applies to my environment, the more I go all the way down to, I don't freaking care what you do, Craig, just fix my car, right?
On the flip side of it, you have people who may have a problem and ignore it completely because they're so far in the passive extreme. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there's multiple ways of being completely disengaged. And it's probably the ultimate extreme. The most disengaged you can be is resisting communication. So silent.
That'll happen though. Yeah.
Sure it will. We misinterpret it. Sometimes we see silence as hostility.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is one of my flaws. And silence could mean processing. Silence could mean fear. Silence could mean a whole lot of different things. If somebody walks into my store and I say, what can I do for you today? And they just stand there and stare at me, that person is not engaging in their environment in the least. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it does.
Okay. If I come running in, I burst the door open, I push the door as hard as I can, I stomp all the way up, and I go, hey, who's available to help me? I need an oil change really, really quick. I haven't said yet whether I'm angry or happy. That's just my behavior. Attention seeking, loud and boisterous, getting attention, that's fully engaged in your environment. The second thing that goes through a human being's head is what I would just call the trust spectrum.
Yeah.
Traditional behavior is hostility and warmth, and that's exactly what it is. Hostility means me focused. Warm means us together, a team. To me, that begins and ends with trust. Either I start out trusting everybody I meet, or I don't trust anybody depending on the situation. And that how many people I trust to help me is a gauge on my hostility. So if a customer comes into your store and is really, really, really angry that something went wrong with their car, they feel they have to fight the whole store.
Yeah, because they have a complete lack of trust.
Yeah, they may not understand that's what they're doing because their subconscious brain is doing it for them. But they have to get that initial attention, but through their skill set to get somebody to pay attention to them. People usually do that in a bad way.
Correct. And again, you mentioned it's kind of subconsciously, this is what their behavior's going to cause them to do. It seems like this fight or flight type of a thing type scenario, but.
Yes. So just to recapping and get on to APAC, if you assess how much somebody's engaged in their environment and how much they present themselves as trusting right now, do they look like, do they sound like they're trusting a lot of people right now? Do they look like they want to work with you to fix this problem? Or do they want to tell you exactly what you should do and leave them alone? Do they want to take control of the conversation or the environment? People that take control of the environment usually end up in the ER several times, depending on their level of hostility towards others. So if you take that, it breaks things up into 4 segments: high trust, low trust, high environment engagement, low environment engagement. That's it. So when you're talking to somebody, you have to make 2 decisions to figure out where their brain is. Okay? I can't talk about APAC unless people understand that even in its simplest form, because APAC works on all 4 behaviors. It works on everybody. But in order for you to know it's working, you have to know where their behavior is shifting. Are they becoming more trusting? Are they becoming more engaged in their environment? Are they crazy and slamming stuff, and I need them to disengage from their environment a little bit? Because I can't tell somebody to calm down. That doesn't work.
Oh, no, this happened to me the other day at the airport. Oh, it was about a year ago now. I was just running to the gate after a delay. It's one of those things where the connection's not going to happen, but there's a chance. There's a chance. I had hope, and I had hope enough to run from B terminal to A terminal. I'm out of breath. I get to a gate where my flight's supposed to be. It's not there. I go to the gate agent, out of breath, puffing and puffing. I need help. And the lady says to me, "Calm down, sir." I wasn't mad. I was actually in a good spirit. I was just out of breath. I was huffing and puffing. She said, "Calm down." I turned around. I went straight to the other counter across the way to a different lady. I said, "I need help." I said, "What's your problem, sir?" It was so much better. And I got the help I needed and found out my gate was still there. But I just was dealing with someone I knew wasn't going to help. Calm down.
Someone who's been consciously aware of behavior for a very long time. It's just in my forefront all the time. I like saying my emotion out loud. "Hey man, I'm pretty upset." Or especially on the phone, "Listen, you're going to start asking me questions. I am not mad at you. I am never going to get mad at you. I am mad at the situation. I've been on the phone too long." I really try to lay that emotion out. If I do get caught up in the moment and start getting a little excited, it's going to give me pause. Maybe they're strong enough to go, "Aha, I can see what you were saying earlier," and that'll make me ratchet back. But it's that way in which you engage. The hesitation to engage, like you gave it a pause, right? Like you looked up at them and you thought, "I know exactly what you thought. This is the way you're treating me. I just ran X so far.
Yeah, totally. Yes.
My feet hurt because I'm in dress shoes.
Yeah.
And you're going to criticize my emotional well-being. Goodbye.
Precisely.
That is hostile behavior.
It is. Yeah.
The idea is it
I didn't
justified?
want to communicate with them anymore.
Yeah. Is it justified? You found it justified.
I had another option.
I would have handled it just exactly the same way, just different behaviorally. It might have slipped out. Do I look upset? Or, do I not look calm? That's a hostile.
Yeah.
Because it's a comma stupid question mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, I would have really bitten my tongue and just been like, thanks. Anyway, I ran here because I'm out of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would have put the issue right on the table.
Yeah.
I don't have time for your bleep.
What I always learned with APAC, the first A, acknowledge. What is it that we're acknowledging? We're acknowledging the issue. Are we acknowledging the feeling?
Great question. My flip answer, I don't care. Craig, you've been in the class a couple times, I think, or at least we've had formal discussions about this on several occasions.
Yeah.
The acknowledgement is almost always skipped when two hostile people meet. Two hostile people will eventually, hopefully, get around to kind of, sort of, a little bit agree that, okay, yeah, well, I'm still right, but you're not as wrong as I thought you were in the beginning. Two hostile people will eventually get there.
There's kind of some cop-outs in this area too. I feel like, oh, yeah, we're all humans here. We make mistakes.
There has to be. They went through the whole exercise without agreeing on anything. It's still awkward to agree with someone you disagree with because you never put the issue on the table. In other words, I don't care what they do. They're coming back to this exact point at some point in the future and saying, that didn't work. What did we learn? We learned that didn't work.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking 45-minute conversations. I'm just get the details.
Yeah.
Because in the details, you find the agreement.
Yeah.
So when somebody walks in and I assess environment and trust, if they're walking fast, they're engaging their environment. If they're staring at me, that's hostile. If they're smiling, it's assertive. Like you can make these decisions in literally 2 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And go,
probably
okay,
without realizing you're making them.
Yeah. And even if you don't get to a full conclusion, you get to this person looks a little pissed. I know where they are, right? So the trust is very low. Don't try to be nice to them. Get to the point and get them to put the issue on the table. That's what they want to do.
So what does this look like then? So one of the ways I saw Chris, when he teaches our team on APAC type things, like, oh, you're upset. Oh, you're very upset, right? It'll be just like this pause on that. It's like, I am.
The only way I can say it is be honest. I know people that can make a joke about that. Boy, you look pissed. And like you have the smile. You have the smile for that, Craig. When I smile, mine goes straight across. I can't get that like grin that you have. And that type of humor doesn't work for me. So when I'm in business, I try to be serious, right? We can have jokes and stuff, when the deal gets done, but let's be nice to each other and fix the real problem. The customer doesn't have a problem with their car. They have a problem with their life, right? The car is preventing them from living the life routine that they do every day. They prioritize God, their family, their kids, their job, their country. They prioritize all these things and the car is getting in the way. Okay, if I have to get a carton of milk in the morning because Princess, doesn't have anything to go wash her cornflakes down, I'm not in the best mood going to the convenience store to pick up a $7 little thing of milk but I'm doing it because that's my daughter. That's my princess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at myself. So my emotional state just is important to the conversation.
Yeah, and that's not where the shop typically wants to go. There's usually a lot. We're focused on the car. We're focused on the car. We're focused on the car. There's a problem with the car.
Car's
Dude,
not
it's like
the problem.
a car's a complicated thing, Mr. Client. We're doing our best. Yeah.
Let me put it another way, Craig, and hopefully other people understand it. A dentist. Does the dentist fix the tooth, or does the dentist fix the complaint the customer's having?
Fix the complaint.
My tooth hurts.
All right.
They look at it, they figure out it needs a filling, and they explain how they're going to fix the tooth hurty, which right now it's almost 4 hurty, not tooth 30. But anyway, my daughter's 12. That joke kills at her friends' houses.
Man, that was just slipped it right in there. That was good.
And that slays at the birthday parties right now. But it just matters. You can wish it to not. And some people are good at sticking their baggage off to the side and going, I need an oil change. My life stinks right now. It's out of control. But that has nothing to do with getting my oil change done. So I'm not bringing that into the conversation, right? We literally, in my martial arts school, we had a little basket outside that says, today's problems.
Oh, nice.
Leave it at the door. And I physically put my hand in my pocket and drop imaginary stuff in an empty basket. We would make the joke that don't forget to pick them up when you go home because they're going to follow you anyway. But some people are good at that. Some people are not. But I'm the professional, and it's my job to move the conversation towards conclusion.
Okay, so we've acknowledged there's a problem. Let's say, how do we get to
an
agreement?
You have to start with an acknowledgement.
Yes.
Hostile people, 50% of the population, the very definition of hostility is me first.
Yes.
If the more hostile I am, the less likely I am to listening. So I have to get them to get less hostile. Number one, you can't be nice to hostile. They're suspicious people.
Yeah.
That makes
warm
them
hostility. I've heard
more
you say
hostile.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what can I do? Well, if they engage their environment and they're hostile, I'm going to say, all right, lay it on me. You look pissed. I'm getting right to the point. If they kind of wander in like they're scared to be there, they don't engage their environment, but they have a look on their face, then I just know it's going to take a lot longer to get this problem out.
You need to dig it out of them somehow.
Either way, I start the conversation off with an agreement, of course, after I introduce who I am and the formalities.
Oh, sure.
To your earlier question, what agreement do we start with? I really don't care. Because if somebody who wants to listen to you hears that you're agreeing with something about this conversation, or somebody who's super hostile that needs to know, hey, dude, if you want to vent right now, now's the time to do it. Acknowledge is the most important first step for this conversation to be efficient. And efficiency's extra bonus is that emotions don't get too high. Emotions either rise or fall to where they should be for the conversation.
Okay. So we're acknowledging this problem. Now that's done. We've acknowledged it. We're going to get to the root of it.
We're good now.
Right?
Probe is a very big step.
Okay.
Because the tool you use is the same. You're exploring data. I'm an expert in cars. That person is an expert in their car.
And their life.
Well, sure, but they're the ones that came to me and said, the car I drive every day is different today.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a light, a vibration, a noise, whatever. It's different today. You need to fix it. I can't say, okay, give me the keys. I'll go look for your problem. That's not efficient. I will waste more time trying to just find the problem that they're looking for than I would if I spent 2.5 to 3 minutes talking to them. What can I do for you today? Yes, we do that. How long, just diagnose the problem, explore the data that's relevant. If they are upset, put it on the table. I know you're upset, and that may make it hard for you to talk to me right now. But if I'm going to solve this problem, I need to know everything you know about this problem. That's how I would say it. If you just copy my words, it's not going to come off as genuine.
Right.
It's just not who you are. Just like I can't do the joke.
Yeah.
But
you need to have your line that, or not just even a line. It's going to come to you in the moment if you're sincere about what you're after. I
literally speak the structure. So there's a lot of the scaffolding in the way I say it because I want to be clear and concise. That's always my goal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I believe in that. So I am going, I plus emotion plus bad behavior question, right? Like the whole class I taught you, Craig, was just about elements. Just memorize the elements. Give them whatever name you want. I don't care. But the elements, what's going to get you through the conversation. So the element is acknowledge whatever ends up being important in the conversation. If the customer's emotional state is the problem, then acknowledge the problem. If it's time, acknowledge time. If you can't figure it out, acknowledge something. Hopefully they'll correct you. And then you probe, you talk about it. Tell me everything you know. Describe it in vivid detail. Tell me more. Whatever you can get that you, as a professional, you think is relevant to the problem. And again, I don't care if you're talking to an employee or a customer.
Yeah, it can be literally any problem that anyone's having to discuss. It doesn't need to be a problem with a car.
Yeah. And easy problems are easy to solve, right? Customer comes in, hey, Craig, how you doing? Did you watch the Super Bowl?
No, my team wasn't in it.
Oh, you didn't. My team was. Go Birds. We won. I had a great weekend. I need an oil change. You know the drill. Here's the keys. I'll be back at 5. Was that a good conversation?
We've had better, Dennis.
But all the elements of knowing what to do were there, right? You and I have had this conversation 10 times. You've done my oil change 10 times. I always pick it up at 5. There's a routine here. What you're trying to do is establish a routine. And when as an advisor, I hate the word salesperson in this industry. It's terrible. We don't sell anything. We solve problems, but
yes,
another conversation.
It sure is.
We're here to solve the problem. So I need to ask you questions. If you're engaging in the environment in the tiniest bit, we can start to engage. If it's like pulling teeth, I need to slow down because the person is suspicious. If they're talking too fast and giving me too much information, you can do things like summarize. You can get them to slow down or just ask them, it looks like you're really excited, but I want to get all the details. Can you slow down a little bit for me? I need to type. But just talk to them. You're a pro. You don't need to be thinking about how much the tie rod end is going to cost from Napa or how much the brakes are, the prices are different. Just talk to them.
Talk to them, get that data. So acknowledge, probe, huge pieces of it. It's like the majority of this is all at the top of this acronym.
Yeah. So for a summary, acknowledge is the most important. Probe should be the longest segment of the conversation. If you could ask all of the questions necessary for probing in 12 seconds, this should be the easiest problem to solve in the world. I need an oil change. Is by 5 okay? Sure, I'll call you. That's an easy conversation, right?
That one is, yeah.
But when we start throwing in emotion and people that are bad at bringing baggage into conversations and all this other stuff that you don't know about and probably never will, if I'm mad at my local automotive mechanic and owner, I'm not going to go into stories about my aunt and my sister and everything that's going on in my life. But I'll at least say, listen, just take care of this. And I'm sorry I'm being a jerk. I got a lot going on right now. I'll get to that point. The idea is, can I get there efficiently to where I didn't have to spike? And instead of putting the issue on the table, spiked it like Gronk because I let my emotions get all bottled up.
Yeah, and people spike though, and we don't want them to do that, and that's the whole purpose of this phase.
You know when they spike the most?
And they say
when
calm
the
down.
Process is out of order.
Okay. So you're offering a solution that doesn't address a problem because you never bothered to probe.
If you listen to two people argue, random people, if you listen to 10,000 arguments, you are going to find that skipping an acknowledgement in the beginning is the number one cause of the loop. Where two people either start having two different conversations, they start talking in circles, they keep looping back to something. It's a doom loop. There's lots of ways you can get into a doom loop, but that's what happens. And then people get frustrated that you're not listening to me. And then what do you got to do? Listen, I am listening. So far, I have heard you say X, Y, and Z. And if you just said a lie, you're going to get your rear end kicked and you deserve it because you weren't listening.
Been burned on this. Yeah.
So own up to it and move on. You should have acknowledged that there's a problem. Acknowledge that you're aware of the problem.
Yes.
Acknowledge that you're not aware of the problem. Please explain.
Yeah.
All of that's going to happen the way the other person presents themselves. I can't control that.
Would it be premature to, even after you've acknowledged the problem, even offer a "we can help" type of a statement?
No, don't offer. I know all the motivational guys are like, oh, always say we, and I understand their message. Do not use we if you do not mean we. And if you do not know we will fix it, do not offer your services. You will get abused. Not because people are evil, because people always want the easy way out. And if somebody else is going to do it, I'm going to let them. I just may complain about it after you get done that you didn't do it the way I wanted you to do it.
Correct. And then we're back to acknowledging.
All of the bosses just went, oh my God, that's what my guy does all the time.
Yeah,
it's the same behavior.
Really, really common. Okay, so acknowledge, probe. The next A, answer.
Answer is just to make it an acronym because the word was test. It would be APAC, right?
A.P.A.C.
A.P.A.C.
A.P.A.C. Okay, so the answer is really test.
Test.
Yes.
Here's an answer. Do you like it? Now, you can do this duck hunting style. I
remember the game on Nintendo now, mind you. All right.
Well, we're people that duck hunt, and a whole flock goes up, right? If you miss the first one, you're gonna keep shooting, right? Or I've never been duck hunting, so maybe that's not what you do, but I figured
you get X amount of shots, and then there's a dog involved. That's what I remember.
Yeah. So, but you're kind of just shooting at a flock of ducks.
Yeah.
Right? You can do that. Well, how about if I get it done by 5? No. How about 4:45? No. How about 4:30? You can do that. Mm-hmm. Or you can just summarize. Is there a specific time you absolutely have to have this done?
Well, that would cut right to it.
Or let's say the person kept saying, I got to pick up my kid at 4:30. I got to pick up my kid at 4:30. Eventually, because I finally started listening, I said, well, how far away are you from the field?
Bingo.
And they're like, it's across the street, but I got to be there by 4:30. Oh, across the street? You mean like if I have you done by 4:15, you're gold? Yeah, that's fine. Oh, not an issue. Now, I got to pick up my kid at 4:30. I got to pick up my kid at 4:30. I got to pick up my kid at 4:30. Where's your kid? 2 states away. Stupid example, right? But the point is, you don't know what 4:30 means because it means they have to be there. And if they're like most people, a couple minutes early at least. Mm-hmm. But you don't even know that. What do they mean by 4:30? 4:30 to my wife is 4:15.
Maybe they mean they want the car by 4:30 because they actually have someplace to be at 5, and they're just telling you that. Yeah,
4:30 to me is up to and including 4:39 when I show up because it's still in the 30s.
Nice.
And my kid's now old enough to where she's not going to die waiting 5 minutes. It means something different to everybody.
Sure does.
But I have to talk about it. Like 4:30 is important to you. Yes, it is. If you're going to get your car worked on today, I should probably know what's happening at 4:30.
Yeah.
I don't need to know it's a wedding cake or a surprise party, or I need to know On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to be there at 4:30?
Oh, very common issue. And of course, auto repair shops are very used to this. Like the problem that you have, sir,
Right.
we're not going to get it done by 4:30.
Right. So
Now we need to do some more answering.
yes. So here's where I separate elite advisors from salespeople. An advisor has no problem saying, you know what? Let's say we get your car checked out by 10 o'clock. I get it authorized by you by 10:30. The parts are available. That's best case scenario. The parts get here on time. That's best case scenario. My guys, I will make sure he's available to do it. It's a long job, Craig. I'm going to be really cutting it close if everything goes perfect. If anything happens in that chain, then it is not likely going to happen. Are you open to any other ways of picking up your kid? Because as an advisor, I know you don't care if you might not care if you pick your kid up in a rental.
Or a loaner.
Or a spouse can come pick you up. Mm-hmm. That person just told me the only thing that matters today is that I am there for my child at 4:30.
Doesn't mean you're the only avenue for the solution, does it?
No, they have not objected to price. They have not objected to procedure. They have not objected to trust. They have not objected to anything. But I have to get my kid picked up at 4:30. And as you can see, I'm already stressed about it. The closer I get to 4:30 and I'm not standing on that field, the more frustrated I get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the unskilled advisors, as you well know, would happily set an unrealistic expectation, hoping it all goes according to plan.
Well, what's the difference between a trusted advisor and a salesperson? Motivation.
Motivation, okay.
What's the motivation of a trusted advisor?
They want to
repeat
be
business.
Honest, and yeah, so trust is going to be the high thing. And if you break that, you're not getting the repeat, are you?
I can make mistakes. I can fix it and get your trust back. The first 3 or 4 visits, I got to nail it. Let's face it. If I go 3 times to a shop to get an oil change and the first 3 times, there's always a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't care how nice you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming back. That's my car, man. I can't do this.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But if I go 3 times and you guys do my oil change perfectly fine and you're nice about it, I'm going to probably mention next time that something's a little wrong.
Yeah.
And we're going to go from there.
Sure would.
So an advisor, and if anybody who's a wholesale tire guy, you get a client who you're just the number one call every time. You don't have to work for that sale. You're working for their trust, which you already have. It's the easiest thing in the world. Imagine working on a person's car for 5 years, and then all of a sudden this, beat up 12-year-old Honda comes in, and it's the guy you've been doing the oil change for 3-4 years. And he goes, yeah, my daughter just got her driver's license. I need you to fix this up. I know exactly what he means. My princess is about to own this car. You have taken very good care of my car for the last 4 years. Do not get nervous about the price. Do not rip me off, but tell me everything my daughter needs to do to be safe.
That's what he wants.
That is exactly what they're saying. We will deal with price when we get to it. Mm-hmm. But let's set the expectation that give me a report that makes this car safe.
Right.
Do that. If a customer walked in and said, I want the exact same 4 Michelin tires I have on my car right now, are you really going to walk them over to the power wall and walk them through good, better, best? That's what a salesperson does, right? Because they have to.
Interesting. So, okay, now we've got the answer piece, but
answer is test.
Yeah.
If you can come to an agreement, then confirm it. Repeat.
Yep.
Rephrase. Assign duties. Tie up loose ends. However you want to describe that. Don't set yourself up for failure when you go to solve the problem. Yeah. Whose job is it to fix the problem? Whose job is it to follow up? Whose job is it to do quality control? Blah, 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 blah. It simply means assign duties
Sure.
to solving this problem, assign ownership.
Okay, so then I see people get confused on the answer test piece with the confirm piece.
You mean answer?
Yeah, I see people confuse answer and confirm, but
Yes.
you've put answer with test.
Yes, acknowledge, probe, answer. Answer means I think I know what's wrong. Here's my guess. Confirm means, okay, I think we're saying the exact same thing at this point. Do you agree? If I was really untrustworthy of someone, I would probably cross the finish line that slow. So you agree that the tires you need for your car cost $1,300. You're going to give me possession of your vehicle for 4 hours, and I will return that vehicle to you at precisely 5 p.m., which is where you will then pay for these tires. Is that now you think I'm crazy? Maybe it's been a while since you've been in a store.
7 years.
But how many times does somebody show up at 5 p.m. when there's only one guy left and everybody clocked out?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no, he didn't say 1,300. He said 970 something.
Oh, the
Or
worst
some version of that
conversation
story,
in the
right?
world. Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh, I found this coupon on the internet while I was at home. Yeah, okay. Do you not honor the coupon? You and I can have a decent discussion on whether you should be obligated to or not.
Mm-hmm.
We agreed on the price, but that's another story.
Yep,
So
sure is. Yeah, that'd be a fun trail to go down.
Answer is a guess. Confirm is let's not make mistakes in communication that will lead to us unnecessarily returning to this problem. Sometimes coming back to the problem is a part of solving the problem.
Yes, and we've used a couple rational examples of problems that in the context of even just a routine conversation in the shop and a routine sales process. But the point is, and I think it stands very clearly, is that the APAC model is really, it's just for any interaction where there needs to be an agreement, where a commitment is being made. This works, and it can overlay over into anything like that. It doesn't have to be a problem customer or even a
no. It's legitimately a life skill. If you really want to boil it down to why one of the reasons humans make mistakes is you've got that phrase. Well, I just had a feeling. Craig, I've known you for over 10 years. It's got to be it now. 10 years.
Yeah.
Probably only met 4 or 5 times, but I could monkey you if we were to meet at a bar, and because I know you as a person, my trust in knowing who Craig is extraordinarily high. You're a consistent human being.
Thank you.
You know, we've had good, deep conversations. We see the world very differently in many cases. I don't question your character and your sanity as to how the world works in your view. Mm-hmm. You have your reasons saying and believing and doing what you do. You run around with 100-pound sack on your back. I think that is insane.
50 at most.
That's insane. Hey, you do it for fun. Like, you're sick in the head.
Someday we're going to get you rucking, man. It's going to be great.
No, that day will never come.
Are you saying it's rucking crazy?
It's rucking nuts. I hope I've done a good job. How much do you trust the people in the room, and how far are you willing to take action to get something done? When you combine those two things, the best of us, the way we describe heroes, real heroes, not in books. The hero always dies in books. Even Superman died.
Yeah, sad.
It's just in a book, so they brought him back to life. That doesn't happen in the real world. Heroes are heroes because they took action at the complete disregard for self.
There it is.
So fully trusting that saving someone else from a fire is worth my own life and doing all the things necessary to do that. Now, we apply that to like football. And, you know, and Saquon Barkley is a hero, Well, he's a really good football player, and I've known him since Penn State, and he's an awesome human being. He plays football for a living. I'm not calling the guy a hero. Well, he's a hero to Philadelphia. Yeah, he's a really, really good sports player who's a really good dude.
Yeah.
Hero to me is one of those like you know this from me calling someone lazy.
Oh yeah, I don't never call someone lazy.
Never. It's a fire word, right? Like you just any work you did to bond with someone at a molecular level is gone when you apply terms like lazy, stupid, all those things. They're overly generic accusations of bad behavior, and it's just not good news. Heroes to me is in that same field. The simple fact of how often a hero comes into our lives, I can't denigrate the word. You know, a hero is rare. They just
and
are.
So is good customer service.
It is. And if somebody uses the word jokingly, like, oh, he fixed my oil leak, he's my hero, I get what they mean. You know, it's like he saved the day.
Oh, when it comes to diagnostics and the deep diagnostics that many in our industry are capable of, it is truly a heroic feat for some people who have been to shop after shop after shop, and they're frustrated. They walk into your shop frustrated, and you APAC the crap out of them, and then you get the job, and you solve the problem, and it was a confirmed problem. I mean, you could almost overlay APAC into a diagnostic routine.
It's Craig. It is. It's a process.
Yep.
The funny thing is it's a process that's going to happen whether you like it or not. It can either go APAC or it can go ACAA, ACPA, APCA. You can keep the loop going if you want. But if you want to do it right, you spend about 12 seconds on acknowledging. At the most in my whole life, I think 1 minute on some really, really difficult conversations. Then the actual conversation depends on how big a problem it is, from a complexity issue to an emotional issue. Anything in automotive, I can't understand why anything would, with a customer, would be longer than 7 to 10 minutes. And I can't imagine a conversation with an employee that after 12 or 15 minutes, I don't just say, you know what, this is starting to go on long. Either we've made good progress or we're not making any progress. Let's cap it. We'll come back to it in 2 days, 3 o'clock, you know, put some subconscious energy into it and come back. There's no way I'd want to get into a fist fight for a half an hour. Craig, you know what sparring in martial arts is
Your
like.
shoulders are going to get tired.
Did you ever fight for a half an hour straight?
The worst was in the black belt test where you had multiple opponents and you were already wiped out from all the other stuff. And now I think it was probably good 10 minutes of multiple opponents. It might as well
probably wasn't
been
even
hour.
10 minutes.
And maybe not. Yeah, you're probably right. It probably just
closer to 5.
Yeah.
You can only fight someone for so long. And whether it's mental or physical exhaustion, it just sets in. That's why I'm not getting into like negotiation 101. We're talking about, you know, telling customers how to fix their car and how to get employees to just be
not
nice.
Get low score reviews.
Yeah, just be nice. Let me walk you through the module on not being a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not the reality.
All right. Yeah, it's like phone skills. I understand phone skills are important. I understand phone skills need to be professionalized.
Yep.
But if I'm literally teaching you how to answer the phone, this 50-year-old me is not getting through this conversation.
Yeah.
It's just not. Like, you have to bring that to the table. If you're 16 and this is your first job, that's an awesome thing. I will teach you how to answer the phone before you develop any bad habits. That's great.
Yeah. I was talking with a guy today from outside the industry, Dennis. I'm hoping to have him on as a guest. And he was basically saying, like, people in other industries, like service advisors in some of these shops, like, they're not nice. They're not nice. They're not. They're curmudgeons and they're crusty. And
you know what they're not good at? they're not good at putting their problems in the basket before they pick up the phone.
Sure. Oh yeah. And they're controlling.
That's what controlling does, right? If you're controlling, you never let anything go. Then now that every customer that walks through that front door is a new problem, at some point, Craig, you just said it, your shoulders are going to start getting tired. You're going to start getting cranky. I know we agreed at the beginning of this fight that I'm going to pull punches to the face and only land them on the body, but pow!
Wow. Yeah.
I'm getting tired.
Oh, brother. Dennis, like we could go all day because I love our deep conversations. We are going to have a bar conversation on one of these points, man, someday. Golly. I got a question for you just for fun. Sure. If you could revise the quote that I'm about to give you, what would you have the final statement be? Put down that coffee. Coffee is for what?
You need to give me time to think about this.
Instead of the closing comment.
Yeah, I know the quote.
Yeah. I was thinking something like coffee's for acknowledgers only.
I don't want to do the scene in Injustice.
I know.
I love the scene, and it is very good at encapsulating 1970s, early 80s selling tactics.
Yeah, Glenn Ross, Glengarry. By the way, the reason I mentioned this movie quote is Dennis, the first time I ever saw that bit was in your class. And
really?
Like, holy, yes, dude. I had never seen it at that point. It's such a classic. It is such a classic.
But I show it because he's such a selfish jerk.
Oh, he's a horrible person in this thing. It's a terrible example of how anyone should communicate, but it's hilarious.
Well, you look at the industry in the 80s.
It was just like that.
You literally stood by the front door of your shop with a baseball bat, and you put out all these like $5.99 oil changes or state inspection for 99 cents.
They don't come on the lot unless they're ready to buy, right?
Yeah, and then you hit them up with, back then, $350 worth of recommendations, which is about $2,000 now.
Yeah.
And that worked. It produced profit. That doesn't work on the demographic that drives today.
Oh, not at all. And there are some organizations that have been slow to change on that.
And the good news is it still works on anybody who was driving in the 80s and still driving today. Anybody of that Glengarry, Glenn Ross era, APAC still solves problems. The only caveat that I throw out there, Craig, is it may not solve the problem you thought you had or fix it in the way you wanted it fixed. I can't control what the outcome is eventually going to be. I can control whether I agree to it or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
so if
Dennis,
the only outcome is that I did an oil change and now you think your cat's pregnant, I have to take the cats. Fine. But if I have to pay you alimony for those cats or, whatever joke insert here, like any crazy thing, I'm just not going to agree to that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can leave it on the table, but we might as well stop talking because I want to get to that in the beginning as much as I can. Some people still need to think through the problem, and APAC helps that.
Yep.
But I need to know what's on the table right in the beginning. If you're rucking nuts, then none of my solutions are going to help you. You just want to complain.
Yeah. And you might realize that as you get into that, you probably can get through it pretty quick. Now, I feel like
You'd be surprised how many people is like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm ready to listen. What's your problem? And they're like,
I just was here for an argument.
Yeah. The guy left a gob of grease on my steering wheel.
Yeah. I just wanted to bitch about it.
Okay. Would you like me to clean it? Yes. Would you like me to bring you out so you can see that it's clean before I walk away so you don't think I was kidding? You would do that. I would absolutely do that if the guy complaining that I left grease on his steering wheel would be happy and then not go home and bash me on Yelp.
I'm so glad you did that with a bit of a New England flair accent there, because this is so typical of what I expect conversations like in the shops over there.
The accent comes from the actual story I'm telling in my head.
Oh my gosh. It was a real place. Oh, brother. Well, Dennis,
All
here's
of
what's
my
got to
stories
happen.
are real.
Here's what's got to happen. We're going to figure out a script where we're going to redo the Glenn Ross, Glenn Gary thing. And there's going to be on the chalkboard scene, it's going to have A.P.A.C.
No. I love that movie, but
You love it too much, don't you? It'd be like sacrilege, wouldn't it?
But Alec Baldwin has no clue what APAC is in the movie or in real life.
No, for sure.
He is a bully in the movie, and in real life, you would know him as
I think it's why he can play the
Q1.
role really well.
It is. You would know him as Q1. Other people would know him as dominant, hostile. He's just that guy. He doesn't care about other people.
Oh, man, no. Dennis, we could do this all day. And I will invite you back because we are definitely going to have more of these conversations. And for our listeners today, I just have to say thank you so much for your attention on all these things. I think this is a very valuable lesson. And Dennis is one of these minds that having access for me, it's been really, truly a blessing. I tell my wife and kids all the time when I do get to meet with you, just to meet with you, it's like, yeah, I talked to Dennis today. So, good. How's he doing? He's doing great. Well, I feel great every time I'm done talking and all that.
Good.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I first heard of Dennis McCarron. Chris pointed me to your episodes that are on Carm Capriato's Remarkable Results Raters. I can't remember the episode numbers, but if you go on remarkableresults.biz and you want to look up Dennis McCarron's episodes, you will find him there. Some wonderful, wonderful wisdom when it comes to communication and understanding people. I just can't think of anyone better to bring in on this. But folks, remember, we do have other shows on the Aftermarket Radio Network. We have Matt Fonslow with Diagnosing the Aftermarket A through Z, the deep diagnostic guy. I think he's got a scaffold for this stuff, similar to an APAC model for figuring out
Every
cars.
good technician has scaffolding.
Oh, absolutely. And we also have Hunt Demarest with his Business by the Numbers. We have Brian and Kim Walker with the Auto Repair Marketing Podcast and the Weekly Blitz with Coach Chris Cotton. I just did another conversation with Chris the other day as well. So wonderful thing. And don't forget, Remarkable Results Radio, Carm Capriato, already mentioned here for Dennis's episodes. And of course, once again, thank you so much to our sponsors. Oh, and Dennis, thank you so much too. This is just awesome. Now, everybody, get out there. Don't forget, listen up before you speak up and APAC the crap out of everyone out there. You can do this. Thanks, Dennis.
You got it, Craig.
You've been listening to Speak Up, Effective Communication with Craig O'Neill on the Aftermarket Radio Network. Follow Craig on your favorite podcast listening app and on his YouTube channel. Let him know what you'd like him to speak up about. Craig is all for advancing the automotive service aftermarket.